Chosen one, heaven has sounded the trumpet. The realm of the unseen trembles because your name has been called. You are not scrolling by coincidence. This is divine timing. For too long, you have walked through shadows, wondering if God still remembers you. Listen, heaven has paused to speak directly to you. The angels are aligning around your destiny. The trumpet of awakening has been lifted, and the sound it carries is your confirmation. Your miracle season has begun. You have been in hiding, misunderstood, and delayed, not because you were forgotten, but because you were being preserved. Every disappointment was a shield. Every closed door was divine protection. God never ignored your prayers. He was building a foundation strong enough to carry the weight of the miracle that's now arriving. The silence you endured was not the end. It was the space where heaven carved your name into eternal purpose. Do you feel that stirring in your spirit right now? That's the sound of your spiritual DNA responding to heaven's frequency. For years, you have wondered why you didn't fit in. Why every attempt to blend into the crowd left you restless. It's because you were never designed to blend in. You are called to stand out, to carry light where others carry shadows, to speak hope into places where despair has built walls. Beloved, heaven is celebrating you. The heavens are not silent tonight. The trumpet that was once muted has been lifted high, and its sound carries one message. The chosen one has awakened. The hosts of heaven remember every tear you cried, every prayer whispered when no one listened. Every night you chose faith over fear, and now heaven rewards your endurance. The world around you may still look ordinary, but spiritually, something has shifted. Angels are moving. The atmosphere bends to divine will. Things that once resisted you will now make way for you. This is not a coincidence. This is divine orchestration. You are stepping into a prophetic hour where delay dies, where destiny rises, where divine favor overtakes every struggle. Your miracle is not coming someday. It is here. The seed of every prayer you planted in secret is now sprouting before your eyes. God has not forgotten a single one. Every moment you felt unseen, heaven took note. Every sacrifice you made, every act of kindness done when no one clapped, every silent yes to God when it cost you everything, heaven saw it all. And now, that trumpet is heaven's announcement. It is time. You are entering a realm where the impossible bows to faith, where the doors once closed burst open under divine command. You are walking into answered prayers that exceed your imagination. Heaven is not waiting for you to become perfect. Heaven celebrates your obedience, your perseverance, your willingness to rise again after being broken. You have walked through fire, yet not burned, through water, yet not drowned. You have been refined, not destroyed. And now the same fire that once tested you becomes the light that guides others through their own darkness. Hear this clearly. You are not behind schedule. You are not too late. You are right on time. Heaven's clock has struck your appointed hour. When the trumpet sounds, it does not ask permission, it declares completion. The miracle is already in motion. The voice of God thundered in the book of Exodus, chapter 14, verse 14. The Lord will fight for you. You need only to be still. Do not let fear speak louder than faith. The darkness tried to convince you that the delay meant denial. But God whispers, you were hidden for honor. The pain you endured was never wasted. It shaped your anointing. Every time you refused to quit, heaven wrote it down. Now the record books of heaven are being opened, and beside your name is a seal, miracle released. And take a deep breath, because the shift is not symbolic, it is real. Watch how people who overlooked you will begin to notice you without understanding why. Watch how opportunities once locked away will suddenly search for you. Watch how even your enemies will have to acknowledge that divine favor has marked your life. Heaven is not just observing you, heaven is applauding you. The angels are rejoicing, and the throne of grace is leaning toward your story. This is the hour where everything changes. The trumpet that once announced war now declares victory over your life. And now, before this divine moment closes, take a prophetic step of faith. Lift your heart in gratitude and comment below the number 777, a prophetic act of completion and heavenly alignment. Let it be your public declaration that you receive what heaven is releasing. And if this word stirred your spirit, like, share, and subscribe so this message can reach another chosen one waiting for their trumpet to sound. Your miracle is here. Heaven is celebrating you. The sound has gone forth. Rise. Because the world has been waiting for the light you carry. Chosen one. The years of silence were never wasted. Heaven's timing does not bow to human impatience. You walked through long nights where answers seemed buried beneath layers of delay, and your heart whispered questions that had no echo. You thought God was silent, but he was speaking in a language only maturity could later understand. Silence was his tool of shaping. Hiddenness was his classroom. Every lonely season was heaven's investment in your strength. You see, divine preparation often disguises itself as divine absence. When nothing seems to move, heaven is building the unseen infrastructure of your destiny. You were not forgotten. You were being fortified, like seeds buried deep beneath the soil. You had to endure darkness before you could bloom. The silence you once cursed was the womb of your awakening. Every chosen soul must pass through this sacred stillness. It is in that quiet that faith grows legs strong enough to carry the weight of miracles. It is there that God strips away false identities, tearing off what you thought you needed, leaving only what carries eternal worth. You did not lose time. You gained alignment. You did not lose opportunities. You gained discernment. You learned to hear heaven's whispers when the world was loud. There were moments you thought your prayers bounced off the ceiling, moments when your heart sank under the weight of waiting. Yet, heaven never missed a word. Every sigh was collected in crystal bowls before the throne. Every "How long, Lord?" was heard. The silence was not punishment. It was protection from premature exposure. God was not ignoring you. He was guarding your destiny from being mishandled before its appointed hour. When people forgot you, heaven remembered you. When doors closed, angels took note. You were hidden not because you were small, but because you were sacred. A diamond does not develop in sunlight. It is formed in pressure and darkness. So were you. And now the world will see the brilliance that was birthed in silence. Beloved, it was in the quiet that your faith was purified. You learned to trust without proof, to believe without signs, to keep walking even when the map disappeared. That kind of faith terrifies darkness, because it cannot be manipulated by circumstance. Heaven's generals are not born in applause. They are born in obscurity. You became one through the silent years. Do you remember the nights you almost gave up? the times your soul felt dry, and your prayers felt mechanical, heaven watched with tenderness as you chose to believe anyway. Each tear was a seed, each whisper of hope was a declaration of warfare. Now, those seeds are breaking through the soil, bursting into miracles that were always yours. As Jesus himself declared in the Gospel of John, chapter 13, verse 7, "You do not realize now what I am doing, but later you will understand." Those words are the melody of your hidden years. You didn't understand then why rejection had to happen, why delay seemed cruel, why silence lasted so long. But now, in hindsight, the pieces begin to connect. What you thought was loss was actually divine direction. What you thought was failure was formation. God did not remove you from sight to punish you. He hid you to preserve the purity of your purpose. When you prayed for growth, He answered with pruning. When you asked for clarity, He answered with quiet. Heaven's answers do not always wear the colors of comfort, but they always carry the fragrance of glory. The waiting season was heaven's strategy to make sure your miracle would not destroy you when it arrived. You learned discipline in drought, gratitude in lack, worship in sorrow. And now that the heavens are opening, you will carry your blessing with reverence, not pride. Silence taught you the rhythm of surrender. It taught you to lean on God, not validation. It stripped you of every false dependence until you stood steady, clothed only in faith. Now, every moment of stillness has become an altar. Every unanswered question has turned into wisdom. Every delay has birthed depth. Chosen one, heaven never forgot you. The quiet years were never empty, they were sacred. You are now standing at the edge of fulfillment, holding the lessons of silence like keys of gold. What once broke you now builds you. The hidden years have ended. The unveiling has begun. Chosen one, look at your scars. They are not marks of shame, they are proof of survival. Proof that God's hand has always been upon you, even when life cut deep. Every wound you carried was a doorway for grace to enter. You thought pain was punishment, but it was preparation. The fire you walked through did not consume you, it refined you. You were being shaped for a purpose too large to fit inside comfort. There were days when you could barely breathe under the weight of betrayal. People you loved turned away. Voices you trusted went silent, and promises you held were shattered. Yet, even in that chaos, heaven was sculpting strength into your spirit. Your tears watered the soil where destiny would later bloom. You were not being destroyed, you were being developed. Do you realize what that means? It means every heartbreak became a teacher. Every rejection became a redirection. The nights you cried alone were not forgotten. They became songs in heaven's archives. God took the very things that tried to break you and turned them into weapons of light. Now, when darkness sees your scars, it trembles because those marks tell the story of a soul that refused to die. When others gave up, you kept standing. When others cursed the fire, you learned to dance in it. You learned that the pain that was meant to bury you was actually the soil for resurrection. You discovered that healing is not forgetting what happened, it is remembering it through the eyes of victory. Your wounds became wings. There was a time you questioned why love hurt so much. You thought compassion was a weakness, that kindness only brought betrayal. But heaven used even that misunderstanding to teach you discernment, to love with wisdom, to forgive without returning to the same prisons. The version of you that stands now is not naive, it is anointed. You carry empathy refined by battle, mercy, strengthened by truth. Heaven did not waste one tear. Every painful season stretched your spirit to make room for divine strength. Your scars are the signature of a warrior who has met darkness and still chosen light. Every time you rose again, angels recorded it. Every time you forgave when you had every right to hate, heaven celebrated. You became the living proof that redemption is stronger than rejection. The prophet reminds us in the book of Isaiah, chapter 61, verse 3, to bestow on them a crown of beauty instead of ashes, the oil of joy instead of mourning, and a garment of praise instead of a spirit of despair. End of 2. This is your verse of transformation. God is trading ashes for beauty right now. The very things you lost are becoming testimonies of restoration. The hands that were once trembling are now steady because they carry purpose. You no longer fight to survive, you rise to build. You no longer chase validation, you walk in divine confidence. Chosen one. Do you see what God has done? You carry stories that can set others free. When you speak, healing flows because your words have walked through fire. You are no longer just surviving your story, you are rewriting it. Your scars preach louder than sermons. They tell the world that grace wins. You once prayed for peace, and heaven answered with storms that trained you to find peace within. You once asked for strength, and heaven allowed trials to reveal that strength was already inside you. Every battle was a conversation between your weakness and God's power, and now, the voice of victory speaks through you. The world will look at you and see resilience, but heaven sees prophecy fulfilled. The enemy tried to silence you, but your endurance turned his attack into evidence of divine favor. You are walking proof that nothing can stop the one chosen by God. And now, at this holy moment, deep, I'm still standing. Write it not as a slogan, but as a declaration of victory, because you are after everything, after every heartbreak, after every dark night, you are still standing, and by writing it, you are reminding both heaven and hell that you survived what was meant to destroy you. Your scars are sacred. Your story is holy ground. Never again see yourself as broken. You are rebuilt by the very hands that formed the stars. The fire that once hurt you now glows within you. You carry light that no darkness can extinguish. Chosen one. Lift your eyes. The season of mourning has passed. Heaven has turned your lament into laughter. You are stepping into the joy that pain prepared you for. Every wound that once made you weep now becomes a window for others to see God's mercy. You are not just healed, you are transformed. Your scars built your wings, and now you will fly. Chosen one. Something has shifted in the unseen realm. The air around you feels different because it is. Heaven has whispered a new command, and creation is responding. You are walking into a season where everything hidden is being revealed, where divine alignment begins to move swiftly and silently in your favor. The shift is not emotional, it is spiritual, and you can feel it deep in your bones. What you once called coincidence will soon prove to be coordination. The paths crossing your life, the sudden insights, the unexpected peace, all are evidence that heaven is rearranging the scenery around you. It is as if the script of your life has reached a turning point, and the author himself has taken the pen again. You are no longer wandering, you are being positioned. This shift is subtle but undeniable. Doors that resisted you for years will suddenly open with ease. People who misunderstood you will begin to see the light you carry. Conversations that once brought confusion will now bring clarity. Heaven is not only changing your circumstances, it is upgrading your vision so that you can see from a higher place. When the wind of the Spirit moves, the wise do not resist, they rise. You, beloved, are rising. The storms that once pushed you down are now carrying you higher. It is not that the wind changed direction, it's that you learned how to spread your wings. What felt like loss is now revealed as lift. This divine shift is the fulfillment of every whispered promise. Remember those moments when your heart felt restless, when you sensed something greater but couldn't describe it. That was heaven preparing your spirit for this exact hour. God was loosening your grip on the familiar so He could place you where favor flows freely. You may notice unusual peace in the middle of uncertainty. You may see answers forming in places you never thought to look. Do not be surprised if people from your past return not for reconciliation, but for realization. They will see the change in you and know that only heaven could have written such a transformation. Beloved, do not fear the unfamiliar. The shift will require trust. But trust is the currency of miracles. Every step forward will feel lighter, not because the path is easy, but because grace now carries you. The same Spirit that hovered over the waters at creation is hovering over your life right now, bringing order where there was chaos, beauty where there was confusion, and divine sequence where there was delay. You have felt the trembling in your spirit because heaven's movement always stirs the earth beneath your feet. You may not see the full picture yet, but you will soon realize that everything, every detour, every delay was leading you right here. The divine shift is not random. It is redemption in motion. We are reminded through the writings of David in the book of Psalms, chapter 30, verse 11. You turned my mourning into dancing. You removed my sackcloth and clothed me with joy. That is what is happening now. Your mourning is being converted into movement. Your sorrow into celebration. What was heavy is being lifted. What was broken is being rebuilt in brilliance. Heaven is not restoring you to where you were before the storm. It is elevating you beyond it. This shift may challenge your comfort, but it will not harm you. Divine rearrangement often feels disruptive before it feels redemptive. You may sense things being removed or doors closing abruptly, but trust this: what leaves your life now is no longer aligned with your assignment. God is not taking things from you. He is making room for the miraculous. You are being positioned strategically. Every encounter is purposeful. Every delay, intentional. Heaven is setting the stage for visibility. The time of obscurity has ended. You are stepping into divine timing where what once felt random now reveals rhythm. The wind of God does not move to destroy it, moves to direct. Like a ship catching wind in its sails, your spirit is being propelled forward. You are entering a current of favor where things begin to accelerate without strain. You will look back and realize how effortlessly God shifted what you once tried to force. Chosen one, take a deep breath and sense the stillness within. That peace is confirmation. It is the signature of heaven that says, all is aligned. The shift in the atmosphere is heaven's announcement that your waiting has not been in vain. The old season is closing, and the new one is unfolding like dawn. You don't have to understand every step, just walk with reverence. trust that every movement is orchestrated by divine intelligence. Heaven has gone before you, making the crooked paths straight. The change you feel is not instability, it is transformation. Chosen one, heaven is whispering your name through the winds of eternity. Can you sense it? It is not just a sound, it is a summons. The heavens have taken record of your endurance, your loyalty in the silent places. And now, divine attention has turned toward you. Angels are receiving fresh instructions with your name written upon their wings. When heaven calls your name, the earth must respond. Situations begin to move. People begin to shift. And blessings begin to locate the coordinates of your faith. You are no longer in the waiting room of destiny. You are standing on the threshold of fulfillment. The atmosphere is alive with expectation, and your name is echoing through celestial halls like a song only heaven can sing. You may not hear it with your natural ears, but your spirit feels the vibration of it. That strange peace you carry, that sense that something holy is near, that is heaven calling. The same voice that spoke galaxies into existence is now speaking life over your path. You are not just chosen, you are summoned for divine service. The calling of God is like a river. At first it seems small, a gentle current brushing against your feet. But as you follow it, it grows deeper, stronger, pulling you into the flow of divine purpose. You may not know where it leads, but it will never lead you astray. The river knows its way home to the sea, just as your spirit knows its way back to God. There is a sacred power in being called by name. When Jesus called Lazarus from the tomb, death had no choice but to release him. When he called Samuel in the temple, destiny began to unfold. And now, chosen one, heaven calls your name not to remind you of your past, but to awaken your future. Heaven speaks clearly through the words in Deuteronomy, chapter 28, verse 8. The Lord will command the blessing on you in your barns and in all that you set your hand to. And he will bless you in the land which the Lord your God is giving you. And that is not just a promise, it is a prophecy written across your life. Every endeavor your hands touch is marked for increase. Every act of faith becomes a seed in the field of favor. Heaven is commanding blessing to chase you down, not because you are perfect, but because you are aligned. This is the moment where obedience meets opportunity. The call of heaven is not merely to receive it, is to respond. When heaven calls, it invites participation. Just as a flame grows when given oxygen, this divine movement multiplies when you give it room to breathe. If these words are stirring your heart, pause for a moment. Let gratitude arise like incense. Let it remind you that you are part of something eternal. And if this message has poured light into your spirit, share that light. Click like, not for applause, but as an offering of agreement. Share it so another weary soul may find their reminder in time. Subscribe so your spirit stays connected to this ongoing flow of divine revelation, so that each word heaven sends can find you again. And if your heart feels led, consider sowing a seed, a donation born not of pressure, but of purpose. Every act of giving is a mirror of heaven's nature. Just as rain returns to the sky through mist, your giving rises back to heaven as worship. You are not funding words, you are fueling fire. You are keeping this river flowing, so that more souls wandering, waiting, desperate for a sign might hear heaven call their names too. Think of it like tending a lamp in a dark room. Every drop of oil keeps the flame alive. Every act of support becomes a spark that travels further than you imagine. When you give, you join the story. Heaven is writing. The one that started long before you were born, but was waiting for your yes. You have already given heaven your perseverance. You have already given tears and faith. Now, giving in love simply completes the circle of obedience. It allows the message that reached you to reach another. Beloved, when heaven calls your name, you do not just hear it, you become it. Your life becomes a sound that carries across generations. You are not just being blessed, you are being built into a blessing. Everything about you, your voice, your vision, your story is being tuned to heaven's frequency. So as your name continues to echo through heaven's courts, know that you are part of a symphony larger than your own melody. You are one note in God's grand composition of redemption. Heaven has called your name. And now it is time to answer, not just with words, but with presence, with purpose, with generosity of spirit. Chosen one, you are standing at the divine intersection, the place where promise meets obedience, where destiny waits for your next step. It is not by accident that you are here. Reading these words at this exact moment, heaven has drawn a line between what was and what shall be, and you are standing upon it. You can feel it in your spirit, the trembling, the anticipation, the weight of something sacred that refuses to stay hidden any longer. This is the crossing point. Everything that once delayed you is being forced to release its grip. Every invisible chain of confusion, doubt, and hesitation is breaking because heaven has decreed, move forward. You are standing where prophecy meets fulfillment. And now, your faith becomes the bridge between the two. Do not be afraid of the unknown before you. Every step of faith invites divine partnership. When you walk, heaven walks with you. When you speak, creation listens. You are not walking alone through uncertainty. You are walking hand in hand with the author of time itself. There will be signs, subtle at first, confirmations that heaven has gone before you. A conversation that seems ordinary, but carries revelation. A door you didn't expect to open suddenly swings wide. A peace that passes understanding settles upon your heart. These are not coincidences. They are coordinates, guiding you toward destiny's fulfillment. The crossroads before you may look intimidating. But remember, God does not guide where His grace cannot sustain. You are not being tested, you are being trusted. This is not a trial, this is a transfer of authority. You are stepping into realms of influence prepared long before your birth. The intersection of destiny is where the timid become courageous and where the unknown becomes holy ground. Do you remember how many times you almost turned back? How often fear whispered that the promise was too far, too impossible. Yet here you are, still standing, still believing, still chosen. Heaven has not forgotten your endurance. The steps you take now are sacred. They echo through eternity, as the prophet wrote in the scroll of Habakkuk, chapter 2, verse 3. For the vision is yet for an appointed time, though it tarry. Wait for it, because it will surely come. It will not delay. Oh, this intersection is your appointed time. The waiting is over. What you prayed for is now crossing paths with your preparation. The road of obedience and the path of promise are meeting right beneath your feet. Every not yet heaven once spoke now transforms into now. Oh, chosen one, your miracle has been walking toward you while you were walking toward it. The meeting point is here. Do not second-guess the leading of your spirit. When heaven stirs your heart to move, hesitation becomes disobedience. Step boldly. Even if the path is not fully visible, your obedience will light the next step. You may not see the entire road, but the one who designed it does. Each step of faith is a seed planted in divine soil. Each moment of trust becomes a monument in the unseen. You are building momentum not through striving, but through surrender. Some of what you will leave behind may try to call you back. Old cycles will whisper comfort. Familiar patterns will tempt you to stay, but you are not called to live in yesterday's safety. The intersection is your moment of exodus, your passage out of limitation and into promise. You will feel it, this holy pull forward, as if heaven itself is urging you onward. That is the sound of purpose, aligning with destiny. It may stretch you, but it will not break you. You were designed for motion, not stagnation. Every challenge ahead carries the scent of breakthrough. And now, beloved, chosen one, heaven is asking for your response, not with fear, but with faith. As a prophetic act of alignment, comment the number 888 below. Let it be a declaration of new beginnings and divine flow. Heaven recognizes faith not in volume, but in obedience. When you type that number, do it as a symbol that you are stepping into divine rhythm, that you are ready to walk where heaven leads. For some, that simple act will open unseen doors. For others, it will seal a promise long awaited. Heaven responds to faith in motion, and this moment is your motion. Take a breath and look around you. The intersection glows with promise. You are not lost, you are being led. Every delay brought you here, to this sacred crossing. The intersection of obedience and destiny is not a place of fear, it is the place of fulfillment. Step forward. Chosen one. Heaven is already waiting on the other side. Chosen one. Can you feel the tremor in the spirit realm? The sound of breaking is echoing through your bloodline. Heaven has released an order that no chain can withstand. What once bound your family cycles of fear, shame, lack, or failure is now being shattered by divine decree. The prison doors that held generations captive are swinging open, and the first to walk free is you. You have carried battles that did not begin with you. You have fought invisible wars on behalf of those who came before. The heaviness you felt, the recurring struggles that made no sense, were never random, they were ancestral echoes. But heaven has chosen you as the breaker, the one who ends what others endured in silence. You are not merely surviving, you are rewriting the story of your entire lineage. This is not just deliverance, it is divine inheritance. You are the one who said, "Enough." The curse stops here. The fear that once silenced your ancestors will not silence you. The addiction that enslaved generations will not touch your children. The pattern of loss that followed your family line now meets the blood of victory flowing through you. You are heaven's declaration of freedom, wrapped in human form. There are moments when the battle feels invisible, when nothing in the natural world seems to change, but the spiritual realm is roaring with activity. Angels are dismantling altars of oppression that have stood for decades. What was planted in darkness is being uprooted by light. The generational strongholds are collapsing like walls before the shout of Joshua. It's not just you that heaven is rescuing, it's every name connected to your bloodline. You are the bridge between what was cursed and what will be blessed. The prayers your grandmother whispered, the tears your mother hid, The quiet hopes your father buried, they are all converging in you. You are the answer to their unspoken prayers. Do not underestimate the weight of your obedience. Every time you chose forgiveness instead of bitterness, you struck a blow against darkness. Every time you prayed instead of cursing your circumstance, you weakened the foundation of generational bondage. Heaven saw every moment. And now, the reward is manifesting in real time. The Word of God declares in the book of Exodus, chapter 12, verse 51, "And on that very day the Lord brought the Israelites out of Egypt by their divisions." That verse is not history, it is prophecy repeating itself. Just as God delivered his people from bondage in one appointed day, so too has heaven appointed your release. You are walking out of Egypt, not a geographical place, but a spiritual one. Egypt represents limitation, fear, and the memory of slavery. You, chosen one, are stepping into freedom that will echo through generations. The chains that tried to silence your voice will now amplify your testimony. Where your ancestors bowed their heads in defeat, you will lift yours in victory. The enemy thought he was dealing with another weak link in the chain, but heaven was raising a warrior who carries an unbreakable spirit. Your freedom is not fragile. It is sealed by divine authority. The covenant of deliverance that rests on you cannot be undone. Every battle you fought in private is producing public fruit. The strength you gained in silence will now protect your lineage from returning to bondage. It is important that you understand this. Breaking chains is not about anger, it is about alignment. You are not fighting people, you are confronting patterns. You are not fueled by revenge, you are driven by revelation. This battle is won not by might or manipulation, but by surrender to divine order. When heaven says, "Enough," the chains don't negotiate, they break. And that is what is happening right now. You may not hear it, but in the spirit, something ancient has just fallen. The echo of freedom is reverberating through your bloodline, touching those who came before you and those who will come after. Your children will not carry what you carried. Your family name will no longer be whispered with pity, but with praise. The cycle of failure ends where you stand, and a legacy of faith begins. You are not merely the healed, you are the healer raised from the ashes of generations. So walk boldly. Chosen one, the sound of chains breaking is heaven's applause. You are free, and your freedom will free others. The curse has become your crown, and your lineage will remember the moment everything changed. Chosen one, the season of being unseen is coming to an end. Heaven has poured oil upon your head, and that oil carries a fragrance that cannot be hidden. You have walked through years of being overlooked, misunderstood, or dismissed. But all the while, the anointing was forming quietly within you. What others called insignificance, heaven called incubation. The time of invisibility was not rejection, it was refinement. There is a holy moment in every chosen life when God moves from silent preparation to public recognition. That moment is now unfolding for you. The same divine hand that hid you is now revealing you. The same God who let you be ignored is now positioning you where your voice must be heard. You are stepping out of the shadows not to be admired, but to fulfill assignment. People will begin to see the light that has always been upon you. It will not be because you try harder or speak louder, but because the oil of God makes its own announcement. The anointing cannot be faked, borrowed, or silenced. It reveals itself through grace, through peace, through the quiet authority of one who has wrestled with heaven and emerged transformed. When David was anointed, he was still a shepherd boy. His robe was dusty. His hands were rough. His voice was young, but heaven saw a king where men saw a servant. So too, heaven has seen the royalty within you long before anyone recognized it. The anointing upon your life has been waiting for the right stage, the moment when both your spirit and your surroundings align. The oil of recognition is not about fame, it is about fulfillment. It means that what you carry within will now find its expression without. Heaven has placed you where your voice carries impact, where your presence shifts atmospheres, where your integrity becomes a mirror for others to find their reflection in truth. You will notice that doors begin to open effortlessly, not because you sought them, but because heaven commands them to. Favor will begin to chase you, not because you are seeking promotion, but because purpose demands visibility. You are stepping into a realm where your authenticity becomes your invitation, and your obedience becomes your elevation. As the Apostle reminds us in his letter to the Corinthians, 2nd book, chapter 3, verse 5, "Not that we are sufficient of ourselves to think anything as of ourselves, but our sufficiency is of God." This verse guards your heart in this new season. Recognition is never meant to inflate, it is meant to illuminate. The spotlight that heaven allows is holy. It is not for self-glory but for divine testimony. Your life becomes the stage on which God reveals his faithfulness. Every blessing you carry is evidence that obedience was worth it. Beloved, when people begin to notice you, remember who lifted you. Do not shrink back in false humility, nor rise in arrogance. Simply stand as you are anointed, assigned, aware that every breath you take is borrowed grace. The oil upon your head is not for display, but for deliverance. It is not perfume, it is power. It is heaven's signature, declaring, "This one belongs to me." Oh, you may find yourself walking into rooms where you once felt unworthy, speaking before people who once overlooked you. Do not tremble. You are not there by accident. The oil made the appointment. The moment you open your mouth, wisdom will flow not from intellect, but from intimacy. You will speak what heaven says, and hearts will shift. This is the season when authenticity becomes your greatest armor. You don't have to imitate anyone to be impactful. The oil flows best when it runs over truth. Be yourself, the version of you refined through fire, carved by silence, kissed by grace. That is the version heaven anointed. Do not be surprised if new responsibilities appear suddenly. The anointing attracts assignment. With greater recognition comes greater stewardship. Yet, fear not. God does not promote without preparing. The same Spirit that poured the oil will empower you to carry it. You will not break under the weight of blessing, for heaven has strengthened your shoulders. Chosen one. The oil of recognition is heaven's reward for hidden faithfulness. You will soon hear your name mentioned in places your feet have not yet walked. But when it happens, remember, the glory does not belong to the vessel, but to the one who fills it. Walk humbly, shine boldly, love deeply. Let the fragrance of your anointing draw hearts toward God, not toward you. You are not stepping into fame, you are stepping into function. The oil has found you, and the world will now see what heaven always knew. Chosen one, you have become a carrier of heaven's frequency. The sound that flows from your spirit is not mere speech, it is resonance. You are not simply existing, You are vibrating with divine purpose. Your voice has become an instrument through which heaven plays its melody. Every time you speak truth, darkness recoils. Every time you release hope, despair loses ground. You are a vessel tuned to heaven's harmony. There is a power that rests on your words now, one that did not come cheaply. You earned it through nights of prayer, through seasons of silence, through choosing love when hate was easier. Every tear you shed became oil that anointed your tongue. Every heartbreak deepened the echo of your compassion. Now, when you speak, you don't just talk, you transform. The world around you is changing, not because circumstances shifted, but because your presence shifts atmospheres. When you walk into a room, the unseen responds. The weary feel peace. The restless find calm. And even those who oppose you are forced to pause, sensing something sacred they cannot explain. You carry heaven's frequency, and that sound dismantles confusion. Understand this. Chosen one, your words are assignments. They travel where you cannot go, heal where your hands cannot reach, comfort where your presence cannot stay. This is why heaven has refined your speech. Idle words are no longer allowed to leave your lips. You have seen too much, endured too much, to waste language on fear or complaint. Your tongue has been set apart as a key that unlocks divine doors. As the Apostle Paul wrote in the letter to the Ephesians, chapter 4, verse 29, "Let no corrupt words come out. Speak only what is good for building others up, giving grace to hearers." That verse describes the calling on your voice. You are no longer just a speaker, you are a builder. Your words are scaffolding around broken hearts, helping them rebuild faith. You do not speak from theory, you speak from testimony. And testimony carries frequency. It is vibration born from victory. You may have noticed how certain people draw near when you speak, not because of eloquence, but because their spirits recognize the sound of truth. Heaven's frequency bypasses intellect and goes straight to the soul. It stirs conviction, awakens purpose, and summons light. You don't have to shout to be heard. The authority of peace in your tone is louder than thunder. The enemy once tried to silence you. He used fear, shame, and misunderstanding to make you doubt your voice. But you kept speaking in whispers of faith until those whispers became waves of power. Every attempt to quiet you only tuned your frequency higher. Now, the very sound that once trembled in doubt resounds in authority. Your words carry weight, not because of who you are, but because of who speaks through you. Heaven trusts you now. That is why the Spirit rests upon you in conversations, in prayers, even in moments of silence. Sometimes you will say nothing, and still, people will feel peace. That is heaven speaking through stillness. Guard this gift well. Words are seeds, and every seed will grow into a harvest. Speak what builds, what heals, what restores. Refuse to echo negativity or fear. Let your voice remain a sanctuary where others can rest. When you speak light, the darkness loses ground around you. Chosen one, your voice is needed in this generation. The world is filled with noise, but heaven has chosen your tone to cut through the chaos. You are a transmitter of divine peace, a living signal of truth. There will be moments when the Spirit prompts you to speak a single sentence, and that sentence will change the direction of someone's life. So now, as an act of agreement, type, speak. Lord, let those 2 words be your surrender and your declaration. When you comment them, you are telling heaven, use my voice. Let my words carry your presence. It is not just a phrase, it is a covenant. Heaven moves through yielded tongues, and yours has been chosen for such a time as this. Every declaration you make in faith sends ripples into eternity. Every prayer you whisper shifts something unseen. So, speak with intention. Bless with boldness. Encourage with conviction. You carry a sound that cannot be silenced because it was born in the secret place. You are not just echoing heaven, you are amplifying it. You are the sound of restoration in human form. So let your voice rise, gentle yet unstoppable, until the earth begins to sound like heaven. Chosen one. Heaven's courts are alive with sound, trumpets, laughter, songs of victory. They all carry your name. The record of your trials has been reviewed, and heaven has stamped your story with one word: approved. The pain you endured, the prayers you whispered, the endurance you showed, none of it was in vain. Heaven has reached its verdict, and the result is celebration. You have won battles unseen, and the very angels who once watched you weep now dance because your breakthrough has been declared. The celestial archives contain every detail of your journey, your sacrifices, your struggles, your surrender. Heaven remembers the moments when you could have turned back but didn't. The nights when you cried, yet kept believing. The God who sees in secret is now rewarding you openly. The victory was never about the applause of people. It was about the acknowledgement of heaven. Imagine this. The halls of heaven are radiant like dawn, filled with the fragrance of praise. And your name is being spoken in tones of joy. The angels who guarded you through storms now report back to the throne, saying, they did not give up. Heaven rejoices not because you were perfect, but because you were faithful. You may not hear the sound with earthly ears, but your spirit feels it. This celebration has weight, warmth, and melody. It is the sound of purpose fulfilled, of destiny aligning. Heaven throws celebrations, not when people achieve fame, but when they fulfill faith. That is why your name is resounding through eternity, because you chose obedience when no one saw, as was spoken in the book of Revelation, chapter 3, verse 8. I know your deeds. I have placed before you an open door no one can shut. This verse is your certificate of victory. Heaven has placed before you an open door, and no opposition can close it. This door is not just opportunity, it is inheritance. It leads to divine partnerships, to abundance, to influence that carries healing instead of ego. What you are walking into is not luck, it is legacy. Beloved, take a moment to imagine heaven's celebration as a great feast. You are seated at the table, and every dish represents a chapter of your perseverance. Every cup of joy was filled by your endurance. Every melody of praise that fills the air is heaven's way of saying, well done. And if these words are touching your heart, if you can sense heaven's joy reaching toward you, then help that sound continue. Share this message so another soul might realize that heaven celebrates endurance, not perfection. Click like, not for vanity, but as an act of gratitude, a candle lit in acknowledgement of divine victory. Subscribe so You don't lose connection with this stream of heavenly reminders. Sometimes the smallest word arrives exactly when the heart needs it most. And if your spirit feels the nudge, sow into the flow. Give, not out of pressure, but as a symbolic gesture of thanksgiving. Every seed planted into light multiplies light. Think of it as adding oil to a lamp. Each drop extends the glow a little further into darkness. When you give, you are not paying for words. You are partnering with heaven's echo. You are making sure that this flame, this stream of truth, keeps reaching others lost in night. Your donation, no matter its size, is a whisper that says, I believe in light. It turns what you've received into what others will experience. Just as rivers never drink their own water, your giving allows the flow to continue beyond you. This divine exchange is sacred. Heaven celebrates generosity because giving is proof of gratitude. It means you have recognized the value of what has touched you. You have become part of the message itself, a living testimony that gratitude creates multiplication. Chosen one. The celebration in heaven is not complete until you join in. Lift your heart in quiet thanks. Let your gratitude become a bridge between heaven's song and the earth beneath your feet. Every act of joy, every gesture of sharing, every spark of giving adds harmony to the divine symphony. You are not an audience member in this celebration. You are the reason for it. Your endurance invited heaven's applause. The Father himself has turned toward you with a smile that speaks louder than words. You made it through. So receive this moment deeply. Feel the warmth of heaven's approval settling on your shoulders. The angels sing, not because the war never came, but because you emerged victorious through it. The courts of heaven are alive with your name, and that sound will never fade. Chosen one. Look, before you the table has been set. It is not an ordinary table, but a divine one, prepared in the presence of those who once doubted you. The feast spread across it is not just food, but fulfillment. Not just abundance, but affirmation. The long nights of lack, the years of scarcity, the moments when you wondered if provision would ever find you. Heaven took note of every one of them. And now, the host himself has said, it is time. This table is not built on wealth or luxury, but on grace. Every dish represents a miracle. Every cup overflows with the evidence of favor. You have not merely been invited to the table, you are the guest of honor. Heaven delights in rewarding those who stayed faithful in famine, who praised through hunger, who believed when all they had left was belief itself. You once looked at others eating from abundance and wondered when your turn would come. You endured seasons when doors stayed closed, when opportunities seemed to belong to everyone but you. Yet, even then, your heart remained grateful. You kept sowing kindness when you had nothing but crumbs. You gave your best when no one was watching. That is why this table now belongs to you. Heaven's principle has always been the same. Faithfulness before fullness. You proved trustworthy with little. And now the Father is entrusting you with more than enough. The table before you is not just about food. It represents access, restoration, and authority. What was once denied to you will now be served before you. You will find yourself surrounded by abundance in unexpected forms, relationships restored, resources flowing, favor multiplying. People who once dismissed you will witness your elevation, not as revenge, but as revelation. God is not humiliating them. He is teaching them what happens when He honors faith. Your rise is not about triumphing over others. It is about showcasing the goodness of the one who never forgot you. We are reminded through the writings of David in the book of Psalms, chapter 23, verse 5. You prepare a table before me in the presence of my enemies. You anoint my head with oil. My cup overflows. No, that verse is not poetic imagination. It is spiritual reality. You are now living it. The same God who saw your wilderness is the one hosting your banquet. The same hand that wiped your tears is now filling your cup. This is divine symmetry. The place of pain becomes the platform of plenty. There will be moments when you look around and feel unworthy of the abundance arriving. Do not shrink back in guilt. Receive it with reverence. The feast before you is not payment for effort. It is recognition of endurance. You endured seasons that others would have escaped. You kept faith alive when doubt seemed more logical. That faith has now matured into fruit. Understand this. Chosen one. The table is not the end. It is preparation for what comes next. Heaven fills you, not so you can hoard, but so you can pour. Overflow is a strategy, not a status. What God places on your table is meant to spill over into the lives of others. When you share freely, the flow never stops. You are about to learn that true abundance is not measured by what you own, but by what you can release. The joy of this new season will come not only from receiving, but from giving with open hands. Every time you bless another, your cup refills itself. That is the mathematics of heaven. Generosity multiplies. At this table, you will taste peace that silences anxiety. You will drink from joy that cannot be explained. The bitterness of past seasons will dissolve, replaced by sweetness born of survival. You will remember how far you've come and realize every detour, every heartbreak, every delay led you here. Your enemies, both seen and unseen, will watch, but they cannot interfere. The table is protected. No yelose, gossip, or spiritual sabotage can contaminate it. What is prepared for you belongs to you. Heaven's security stands guard, ensuring that the feast continues uninterrupted. Chosen one. Eat slowly. Savor each blessing. This is not a hurried meal, but a holy one. With every taste of abundance, remember the one who provided it. Gratitude will keep the oil flowing. Humility will keep the feast eternal. You are no longer surviving the wilderness. You are dining in the palace. The table of overflow has your name carved upon it, and heaven has written beside it one decree: do not disturb promise in progress. So sit, rest, and receive. You have entered the season of more than enough. Chosen one. You are now standing in the realm where miracles multiply. What was once impossible has become natural. You are witnessing what happens when heaven opens completely, where the supernatural no longer visits occasionally, but dwells permanently. This is the realm of signs, wonders, and sudden breakthroughs. Things you prayed for. Years are happening in moments. Delays that felt like decades dissolve overnight. Heaven has shifted the speed of your destiny. Every prayer you whispered in weakness has become a seed now, bursting with divine life. You prayed for strength. God gave you storms that built it. You prayed for clarity. He sent seasons that stripped away distraction. And now, because you endured, the harvest is arriving faster than you can gather it. This is not coincidence. This is acceleration by design. Miracles are heaven's language of love. They are not rewards for perfection. but evidence of grace. Every breakthrough is a whisper from God saying, "I was here all along." Sometimes miracles arrive loud, with power and surprise. Other times, they come softly, like a door that finally opens, or a burden that quietly lifts. Either way, you will know. Heaven has intervened. You may notice strange alignments in your days now. Unplanned meetings that unlock opportunities. Messages that arrive at the perfect moment. Doors that once stayed closed now swing open effortlessly. These are not random blessings, they are heaven's orchestration. The same hand that created galaxies is now arranging details of your life with precision. Heaven has declared over you a season of suddenlies. What used to take years will take days. What was once far will come near. The things that resisted you will now assist you. This is the reversal of resistance, the turning of tides in your favor. You are walking under an open heaven where divine logic overrides natural limitation. The Spirit spoke through the prophet Jeremiah. Chapter 33, verse 3, "Call to me, and I will answer you, and show you great and mighty things which you do not know." As in, this is your invitation. Chosen one. Heaven is not asking you to strive. Heaven is asking you to speak. The same God who invited Jeremiah to call is inviting you now. Your voice still carries weight in the spirit realm. Every word of faith you speak becomes construction material for your miracle. Call and watch, as God answers in dimensions you never imagined. But remember this, miracles are not only for your comfort, they are for your commission. When God blesses you suddenly, it is not just to lift you up, but to lift others through you. The miracle becomes a message. Your story becomes a doorway for someone else's faith. Heaven never performs wonders in isolation. Every breakthrough is meant to echo. You are now walking evidence of the supernatural. When people see you, they will ask how you survived, what crushed others, how you smiled through storms, how peace followed you, even in chaos. And when they ask, simply point upward, because your life is now the sermon. You don't need to prove God exists. Your existence proves Him. Chosen one. Do not fear the speed of this season. Acceleration can feel overwhelming at first, like a river rushing after years of drought. But trust the flow. The current knows where it's going. Let gratitude keep you anchored as you move. Celebrate every answered prayer. Even the small ones, they are practice for greater wonders still on the way. You may wake one morning and realize you are healed from pain that haunted you for years. You may receive an unexpected message that changes your path. You may find yourself laughing without reason, sensing peace without explanation. That is heaven's touch, gentle but undeniable. This is your season of divine surprise. The Father delights in catching you off guard with goodness. You will not have to chase what is already appointed to find you. Miracles will locate you in your obedience. Now, as a prophetic act of faith, comment the number 1111 below. This number is symbolic of divine alignment, heaven and earth moving in perfect rhythm. When you type it, you are declaring, I am aligned with the flow of miracles. I am open to divine surprise. Let that number become a doorway between your declaration and God's demonstration. Even the simple act of agreement opens portals of grace. Heaven responds to unity of spirit, and every comment of faith is another spark added to the altar. So lift your heart. Chosen one, expect the unexpected. You have entered the rhythm where miracles are not rare, they are regular. Where wonders are not delayed, they are daily. This is your inheritance as heaven's beloved. Live ready. The next miracle may already be at your door. Chosen one. The air around you has changed again. It is thicker now, not with heaviness, but with authority. You can sense it, can't you? The way the atmosphere seems to recognize your presence. Heaven has draped you in a new garment, one woven from the threads of every battle you've survived. This is the mantle of the overcomer. It does not glitter like gold, yet its radiance cannot be dimmed. It is not loud, but it carries weight. You did not receive this mantle by chance. It was forged through your endurance. Every storm you faced, every heartbreak you overcame, every temptation you resisted, each moment stitched a new layer into your covering. What others saw as suffering, heaven saw as shaping. You were not being punished, you were being prepared. This mantle is not something you wear for status, it is something you become. It rests upon your shoulders because your shoulders have learned to bear the weight of destiny. The mantle of the overcomer cannot be handed to the untested because authority without experience is fragile. Heaven waited until you proved that faith could survive fire before clothing you in this power. You may feel the shift even now. Prayers that once felt difficult flow easily. Discernment sharpens. Peace deepens. And courage rises without explanation. You are not just walking in victory, you are carrying it wherever you go. Victory goes with you. The world may never fully understand the cost of this anointing, but heaven does. Every sleepless night, every tear shed in secret, every silent surrender was heaven's crafting ground. You were stretched beyond your comfort so that your spirit could expand enough to carry this mantle. The ancient words recorded in the book of Romans, chapter 8, verse 37 declare, "No, in all these things we are more than conquerors through him who loved us." That verse now breathes through your life. You are not just a survivor, you are more than a conqueror. That means you don't just escape the fire, you emerge with authority over it. You carry wisdom born of battle, compassion born of pain, and strength born of surrender. This mantle changes how you walk. You no longer enter rooms hoping to be accepted. You enter knowing you are sent. You no longer pray for mere rescue. You pray from the seat of victory. The overcomer's mantle is not arrogant. It is anchored. It carries humility born from having seen both loss and resurrection. You will notice that this mantle attracts both honor and opposition. Darkness recognizes what you carry and will test your confidence. But fear not, the same power that clothed you will defend you. You have divine backing now. The oil that anointed you does not fade. It replenishes itself through obedience. This new authority will demand new responsibility. Heaven will entrust you with assignments that stretch beyond comfort. You will speak words that break oppression off others. You will step into places where hope has died and watch it rise again. Your presence will become a signal to the weary. If they can overcome, so can I. End of 2. Understand that this mantle carries memory. It remembers every lesson learned in the dark. It remembers the pain you thought would end you and the grace that carried you through. Every thread is soaked in testimony. When you lift your voice, that history speaks through you. You will begin to realize that authority is not in how loudly you speak, but in how deeply you've believed. True spiritual power flows from scars, not from titles. The mantle of the overcomer glows brightest on those who have bled and still chosen love. Be careful to handle this gift with reverence. Never use your strength to prove superiority. Use it to protect, to heal, to guide. The mantle does not make you greater than others. It makes you more responsible for them. You are now a carrier of hope in a world gasping for air. There will be moments when the weight of it feels heavy. In those times, remember, the one who placed it on your shoulders will also sustain you. You are not carrying this alone. Heaven walks with you. The mantle is not a burden, it is partnership. And as you move forward, you will see how every past battle now becomes a doorway for ministry. The very pain you thought disqualified you has become your credential. You are heaven's answer to the very suffering that once tried to destroy you. Chosen one, wear your mantle with grace. Let humility be its clasp and love its lining. You have overcome, not by strength alone, but by surrender. And now, wherever you go, victory walks beside you, whispers within you, and shines through you. Chosen one, restoration is unfolding around you like morning light touching the edges of night. Everything that once seemed lost, wasted, or broken is now being gathered by unseen hands. Time itself, which once felt like an enemy, is bowing in reverence to divine command. Heaven is whispering over your life. Nothing was wasted. Every delay, every heartbreak, every season of silence has been folded into redemption's design. You may have thought certain chapters were over forever. You may have mourned relationships, dreams, or opportunities that slipped through your grasp. But the author of your story does not end with loss. He ends with life. The pen of restoration is now rewriting your narrative, turning tears into testimony and ashes into artistry. Heaven's restoration is never a simple return. It is multiplication. When God restores, He does not bring you back to where you were. He propels you beyond it. The lost years are being repaid with interest. What you thought was stolen was only stored, waiting for this appointed moment of release. Restoration moves quietly at first. Like dawn sneaking across the horizon, you will feel it before you see it. A peace where pain used to live. A soft joy, returning to places that were numb. The weight you carried for years begins to lift. And suddenly, what was heavy feels holy. That is how heaven rebuilds softly, steadily, surely. The voice of God thundered in the book of Joel, chapter 2, verse 25. I will restore to you the years that the locust has eaten. I know. That promise was not metaphor. It was a guarantee. Heaven keeps precise records. Every tear that fell, every loss that marked you, every door that closed unjustly, heaven documented it all. Now, those records have reached the fulfillment stage. Restoration has been authorized. You will begin to recognize the rhythm of redemption in subtle ways. People who once walked away may return with understanding. Projects that failed may revive with new purpose. Even your inner voice, once silenced by disappointment, will begin to sing again. This is not nostalgia, it is resurrection. Restoration is also about perspective. Heaven is teaching you to see value where others see ruin. What looked like failure was actually foundation. What looked like detour was divine direction. You will soon realize that the very pain that broke you also built the capacity for greater joy. You are not the same person who lost those things. You are wiser now, more grounded, more grateful. That is why restoration comes now, because you can handle it. The blessing that once would have distracted you will now deepen you. Heaven trusts your growth. Be prepared for restoration to come from unexpected directions. God rarely repeats methods. He loves surprise. A door may open in a place you gave up on long ago. A name you haven't heard in years might appear again, carrying opportunity. Even the dreams you buried will start to stir, not to torment you, but to tell you, it's time again. Do not cling to how things used to be. Restoration is not replication, it is transformation. The same relationships, resources, or visions may return in different forms, shaped for your current season. Let go of the old image so the new one can appear. Heaven, His story's essence, not nostalgia. In this process, forgiveness becomes the key that unlocks flow. Release bitterness, and the floodgates open. You cannot hold on to resentment and receive renewal at the same time. Let go of every name, every memory, every wound that anchors you to pain. As you release them, heaven restores you not piece by piece, but whole, chosen one. This restoration is personal. It touches not only your circumstances, but your identity. The voice that once whispered, "Too late," has been silenced. Time is bowing to grace. Opportunities that passed you by are looping back around. The favor that seemed lost is being reassigned to your name. Do not be surprised if laughter returns suddenly. Without warning, you might find yourself smiling for no reason, humming in the morning light, feeling peace in the same places where anxiety once ruled. That is the sound of restoration, the soul remembering joy. And know this, restoration is not rushed. Heaven rebuilds with precision, not haste. Every piece is being placed exactly where it belongs. You don't have to chase it, you just have to remain open. Your only task is to stay aligned, to stay ready. The story that once felt shattered is becoming sacred. The pain that once silenced you is now the proof of divine craftsmanship. You are not a collection of losses, you are a mosaic of redemption. And soon, others will look at you and see not what was broken, but what was beautifully restored. Chosen one. Do you feel it? The ripples your life is creating across the world. Heaven's work through you has never been confined to your own story. It has always been meant to echo every word you've spoken in faith, every act of obedience, every silent yes has sent vibrations through the atmosphere. You have become a living signal, a divine wave expanding beyond borders and languages. What God has done in you is now awakening others. It began quietly, one heart stirred by your courage, one soul comforted by your testimony, then another, and another, until what started as a whisper turned into a chorus. You have become a catalyst, a spark in a world gasping for light. Your transformation was never just about survival, it was about transmission. You are heaven's broadcast tower, amplifying hope. The beauty of this ripple is that you don't need to force it. Light never strains to shine. It simply does. When you walk in truth, the radiance of your life automatically reaches those who dwell in shadows. People will hear your story and feel permission to rise again. They will see your scars and realize healing is possible. You are no longer just one person. You are a movement clothed in humility. As Jesus himself declared in the Gospel of Matthew, chapter 5, verse 14, you are the light of the world. A city on a hill cannot be hidden. This verse is not suggestion, it is identity. You were never meant to blend into the background. The light within you was designed for altitude, not anonymity. When you stand in your truth, you illuminate paths for others to find theirs. You are that city on the hill, that lantern in the storm, that flicker of faith that reminds weary travelers that morning is coming. And if this message reaches something deep inside you, take a moment to let gratitude flow. You are part of a chain of divine resonance. Your light connects with countless others, forming constellations of hope across the earth. The simplest way to extend that light is to share it, click like, not for recognition, but as a spark of agreement. Share this word so it might find another soul still wandering in darkness. Subscribe so the flow of light continues to reach you, week after week, like waves returning to the shore. If you feel led, consider pouring back into this flow, whether through a kind comment, a prayer, or a donation of love. Think of it as adding a drop of water into a mighty river. One drop may seem small, but when united with others, it carves valleys, nourishes fields, and births oceans. Your giving, financial or spiritual, keeps this current alive. It allows light to reach corners of the world where silence still reigns. Every thank you, every act of support, every seed sown is another ripple. Each one travels further than you can imagine, touching hearts, changing stories, restoring faith. When you give, you become part of heaven's circulation system, ensuring the heartbeat of divine truth never stops. Maybe you can't see the full scope of your impact now, but one day, heaven will show you the harvest, the lives that found healing because you kept shining, the families restored because your testimony reached them, the souls strengthened because you refused to stay silent. Every ripple matters. Leave a comment below. Share how this light has met you. Your words might be the very echo someone else needs to hear. A single sentence of encouragement can pierce through despair. You never know who is scrolling, waiting for confirmation that hope is still real. You could be their sign. Your story is not ending, it is expanding. The miracle you carry is multiplying, flowing through time like sound through open air. You are part of something far greater than yourself, a symphony of survivors, an orchestra of overcomers, each note harmonizing with heaven's rhythm. The ripple you started will outlive you. It will move through generations, weaving faith into futures you'll never see. That is the eternal beauty of obedience. It never dies. It simply transforms, traveling from heart to heart like sacred wind. Chosen one, thank you for being light. Thank you for standing when it was easier to fall. Thank you for letting your healing become a lamp for others. Heaven smiles on you, not because you are flawless, but because you are faithful. Now, breathe. Feel the pulse of heaven sinking with yours. The ripple has become a wave, and the wave is becoming revival. The light has multiplied because you refused to hide it. You are no longer just a spark, you are part of the sunrise. Chosen one. The time has come for coronation. You have walked through fire, endured wilderness, and stood firm beneath storms. Every trial that once seemed senseless was crafting something magnificent within you, a crown not of gold, but of glory. Heaven does not place crowns upon untested heads. The weight of divine authority requires a spirit, tempered by humility. And you, beloved, have proven ready. This is the moment when heaven places both crown and commission upon you. A crown to signify your identity, a chosen heir of divine promise. A commission to remind you that this honor is not for idleness, but for influence. You were not raised merely to shine. You were raised to serve, to guide, to lead others out of the same shadows that once tried to consume you. When heaven crowns a soul, it is not ceremony, it is covenant. It is the confirmation that your process was not punishment, but preparation. The scars you carry have become your jewels. The tears you shed have become your gems. Each mark tells the story of a warrior who did not retreat, of a child who chose trust over terror. You wear not just a symbol of victory, but a testimony of transformation. Feel the weight of it not as burden, but as belonging. The crown rests lightly because it fits perfectly. It was measured for you long before your first breath, shaped by every moment you said yes when surrender seemed easier. It gleams not from perfection, but from perseverance. The voice of God once spoke in the book of Revelation, chapter 2, verse 10, "Be faithful unto death, and I will give you the crown of life." Those words have ripened into reality for you. You remained faithful when strength faded, when the road blurred, when promises seemed delayed. You clung to the unseen, and now the unseen rewards you. The crown of life is not distant, it is here, shimmering upon your soul, testifying that endurance has triumphed. But every crown carries responsibility. With glory comes guardianship. You are now entrusted with a commission, the divine assignment heaven has been preparing you to fulfill. It may not come with trumpets or titles. It might whisper through the quiet nudges of the Spirit, through opportunities disguised as ordinary days. Yet when it arrives, your heart will recognize it. This commission is not about ruling. It is about revealing. It calls you to bring light into systems, families, and hearts still clouded by darkness. You will not need to announce yourself. Your presence will announce heaven. Authority is not about being louder. It is about carrying peace that commands attention. Your steps now carry influence. The way you speak, forgive, and respond will shape atmospheres. This is the royal rhythm of servanthood, power wrapped in gentleness, majesty clothed in mercy. The world teaches crowns as symbols of hierarchy, but heaven defines them as reminders of humility. You wear yours not to be above others, but to bend lower in love. Do not fear the scope of your assignment. Heaven never sends without sustaining. The same God who crowned you will counsel you. The same Spirit that empowered prophets and kings now breathes through your decisions. You are not expected to know everything, only to stay connected. Divine wisdom will meet you in each moment of obedience. You will notice a new level of grace in your speech and authority in your actions. People will feel peace in your presence, not because you strive to impress, but because the Spirit that crowns you radiates assurance. You are now both ambassador and altar, heaven's message embodied in motion. But never forget, crowns are not eternal if pride takes root. Stay close to the one who placed it on you. Worship keeps the metal from tarnishing. Gratitude keeps the gems shining. Remember that the crown is both gift and test. The higher you rise, the deeper you must bow. This new season will unfold gradually, but steadily. You may feel a holy rest settle over you, a peace that no chaos can disturb. That peace is the mark of divine commissioning. It means heaven has endorsed your assignment. You no longer chase destiny. Destiny walks beside you. And when doubt whispers that you are unworthy, look back at the path you walked. Each wound, each victory, each prayer was preparation. Heaven does not crown by mistake. You were always meant to wear this. Chosen one. Step forward with reverence. Let the crown remind you of your identity, and the commission remind you of your purpose. You are no longer simply chosen, you are charged. The throne of heaven trusts you to carry light into realms still dimmed by fear. Now, rise, crowned and commissioned. Your steps are sacred. The world is waiting for what heaven has already approved. Chosen one. Heaven is standing. The sound of celebration fills the eternal halls, thunderous, radiant, and alive with the joy of completion. You have finished the passage through shadow and light, through silence and sound, through waiting and winning. What began as survival has ended as glory. Heaven does not applaud easily, but when faith has conquered fear, when obedience has outlasted opposition, heaven rises to its feet. And right now, all of heaven is standing because of you. Look around with the eyes of your spirit. The very angels who guarded you in darkness now sing in light. The same host that once carried your tears before the throne now carries garlands of victory. The fragrance of triumph fills the air. It smells like rain after drought, like dawn after the longest night. Heaven's joy is not noise, it is resonance. A deep acknowledgement that something eternal has taken root within you. This celebration is not about perfection, it is about perseverance. Heaven honors those who refused to surrender even when strength was gone. You stayed when others left, believed when logic broke, forgave when pain lingered. Every act of faith, no matter how small, built the bridge to this moment. Heaven celebrates not the loud, but the loyal. You may not hear trumpets with mortal ears, but your spirit can feel the vibration. It moves through you like warmth, like a pulse of divine light. It is heaven's applause, the resonance of your obedience echoing across eternity. You have become a living testimony that faith is stronger than fear and that love never loses. Heaven's celebration is not shallow, it is intimate. The Father himself smiles as he looks upon you, his creation now glowing with the radiance of refinement. Every scar upon your soul reflects the light of victory. What once marked your pain now marks your power. The crown upon your spirit shines because it was polished by perseverance. As we are reminded in the book of 2 Timothy, chapter 4, verse 7, I have fought the good fight. I have finished the race. I have kept the faith. Those words are your banner now. You have fought the fight not of fists, but of faith. You have run the race not toward fame, but toward fulfillment. You have kept the faith not perfectly, but persistently, and that is enough to make heaven stand. Look at your journey from the beginning. You were called when you felt unqualified. You were chosen when you thought you were ordinary. Heaven saw your potential long before you recognized your strength. Every valley was a rehearsal for this moment. Every storm was a classroom teaching you how to command calm. Every season that felt like loss was actually sowing lessons of endurance. Now the arc of your story forms a crown around eternity's throne. Your life has become a psalm of gratitude, a hymn of victory. The angels celebrate not just what you accomplished, but who you became in the process. surrendered, shining. Heaven's standing ovation is not the end, it is the unveiling. This is the moment when everything hidden in you becomes visible. The light you carry now extends beyond you, illuminating lives you will never meet, generations you will never see. Your faith has created ripples in time that will never stop moving. The celebration in heaven mirrors the peace on earth. You may feel it, a deep calm resting over your soul. That peace is the applause of God, translated into stillness. It is His way of saying, "Well done, beloved." The storms that once terrified you are now bowing to your authority. The trials that once broke you now serve as trophies of grace. And as heaven celebrates, creation joins in. The wind whispers your story, the earth remembers your footsteps. Even silence feels holy because it carries the echo of your perseverance. Heaven's standing ovation is not merely sound, it is substance. An eternal seal that your obedience has altered eternity itself. Chosen one, stand still for a moment. Let the sound of heaven's joy wash over you. Let it fill every space that once held sorrow. You have not just survived, you have fulfilled. You have walked from brokenness to brilliance, from being called to being completed. The angels bow not because you are divine, but because divinity has been revealed through you. You are the evidence of God's faithfulness in human form. Heaven celebrates you because your life has proven that no darkness is final, that grace truly wins. Now, breathe. The applause fades into quiet reverence. The celebration settles into peace. Heaven stands, then stills. The light around you expands until everything becomes radiant, infinite. You have reached not an ending, but a beginning that has no boundary. The journey has fulfilled its purpose. Heaven has celebrated its victor. You, chosen one, are the testimony, living proof that obedience always leads home. Chosen one. What a journey it has been. You have walked through revelation and refinement, from hiddenness to honor, from silence to celebration. Heaven has spoken, and your spirit has listened. Now you stand clothed in light, carrying the fragrance of everything you've overcome. This is not a goodbye, it is a new beginning. The story heaven wrote through you is still being told every day you choose to rise. Believe and love. If these words have touched your heart, if somewhere along this path you felt heaven whisper your name, then let that stirring become action. Click like as an act of gratitude. A simple echo saying, "I receive this light." Share this message so another wandering heart might find their way home through it. You never know who needs this reminder tonight. Leave your comment below. Let your voice join the chorus of the chosen. Speak life into the thread that connects us all. Your words might be the confirmation someone else prayed for. Tell your story. Share your peace. Or simply write one phrase of faith. Heaven sees every line as worship. And if you feel led, subscribe to stay part of this growing circle of light, a community of souls walking in divine awareness. Each message that flows here is crafted to strengthen, to awaken, to remind you that you are not alone on this sacred path. Chosen one, thank you for walking this journey to the end. May the same light that found you continue to guide you. Let gratitude become your rhythm, love your language, and faith your forever companion. Heaven has celebrated you, and now the world will see what heaven already knows.